everyone. How are you doing? How is your quarantine going? I hope you are doing great and everything is good for you, for your family, for your relatives, for your friends and dear ones. Welcome to your online English lessons again. In the last video, we studied modal verbs in the present and in the past. We had a look at the different uses and forms of modal verbs in English. Today's video is about present and perfect modal verbs in the passive form or the passive voice. Of course, you can come back to the video I shared with you last time of passive voice to review the use and form of the passive voice. By the end of this video, you will be able to use different modal verbs in the passive voice appropriately and correctly. So you are going to learn how to change from active to passive, how to change present modals from active voice to passive voice, and how to change past modals or perfect modals from active voice to passive voice. Let's get started with present modals in the passive voice. What's going on in Morocco recently? What do you see in the picture? These are two girls wearing masks, face masks to protect themselves from the coronavirus and to help stop the coronavirus that the world suffers from recently. So because of the spread of the coronavirus in Morocco, all the shops must be closed at 6 p.m. Public meetings mustn't be held. Face masks shouldn't be worn once out to help stop coronavirus. Anyone found in violation can be fined or imprisoned. So what do you see in these sentences here, these precautions, in these procedures of the coronavirus? So you have the modal verb that is used in the simple present plus be plus past participle. So of course here you have a passive sentence, and when we turn from active to passive, modal verb in the passive voice, it is followed by be plus past participle. Now let's have a look at past modals. Let's change these sentences to perfect modals. How can we form perfect modals in the passive voice? Perfect modal verbs in the passive form. So the same sentence, all the shops must have been closed at 6 p.m. So here we have been to form the passive. That's past participle, of course. Meetings mustn't have been held. Face masks should have been worn. Anyone found in violation can have been fined or imprisoned. Of course, here we are talking about the people who disobey the law. All right, they don't accept or they refuse to wear masks or they go out after 6 o'clock, etc. So they can have been fined or can be fined. So can be fined is present in the passive, and can have been fined is the perfect modal in the passive. So can have been fined or imprisoned. Now let's understand more through examples. So let's start with the present modals again. Let's change from active to passive. You must respect the law. So this is the present modal verb plus infinitive in the active voice. In the passive, the law. We start with the object. Remember that the object is very important and the action, which is more important in the passive voice. The law must be respected. They must keep the sick child warm. The sick child must be kept warm by them. To be plus past participle. This is a form of the modal verb in the passive. and present modal verb in the passive. Parents shouldn't spoil little children. Little children shouldn't be spoiled by parents. Of course, by parents here is used to show the doer of the action. Jasmine can do this job. This job can be done by Jasmine. So this is what we saw actually in the video of the passive voice. We had a look at the different tenses, at the same time the modal verbs in the passive. Now, what is new in this video is perfect modals in the passive. So how do we form them? Let's change from active to passive to understand. You must have respected the law. Modal plus have plus past participle. This is the perfect modal in the past. Or let's say perfect modal in the active voice. Now, in the passive, the law must have been respected. Object plus any modal plus have plus been plus past participle. This is the same form, all right, that you'll apply to all modals. They must have kept the sick child warm. The sick child must have been kept warm by them. Parents shouldn't have spoiled little children. Little children shouldn't have been spoiled by parents. Jasmine can have done this job. This job can have been done by Jasmine. So remember that in the passive we give more importance to the action. That's why we are using the object plus the action, the form of the passive. So the difference is clear now between the use of modals in the present and the use of modals in the past in the passive voice. Now you have a task to practice modals in the present and modals in the past. Remember that the form of modal in the present is modal plus be plus past participle. We are talking about the passive, of course. The use of present modals in the passive and the use of perfect modals in the passive voice. So this is an exercise of present modals in the passive, and this is another exercise for perfect or past modals in the passive voice. So please copy these exercises in your copybook. Write your answers and you can send me your answers. My pleasure to help you and to send you back the correction. Take a good care of yourself and please feel free to ask me any question. Goodbye.